all. I hope you're fine and staying safe at home. My name is Ernest Emmanuel, and today's lesson we'll be looking at something different. Okay, now, at times when you grab a magazine, you go through, you see some write ups by people on subjects, right? And on specific subject matters, issues, or topic. And usually, such issues are usually interesting and educating. But you begin to wonder, this writer, what did the person do, or how did the person go about doing this? Well, it's simple. But if I may ask, what do you think such kinds of write ups are referred to in English language? You find them in journals, you find them in magazines, you find them in newspapers. What are such write ups called? Well, if you have told someone, let's see if you are correct. But if you are still thinking, let's see if what you're thinking is similar to what we're about to look at today. Today we'll be looking at a topic called article writing. Was that what you thought? All right. We'll be looking at article writing, and in this lesson you'll learn to do the following. You'll learn to define an article, you'll learn the objectives of an article, you will learn the steps for article writing, and you will learn the format of an article. And finally, most importantly, you will learn to do what? To write an article. But if I may ask, what is an article? I've given you clue, or should I say clues, since I said you find them in journals, you find them in newspapers, and you find them in magazines. But what is an article? Any idea? Think. Okay, let us go. An article is an expression of one's thoughts on an issue or subject for a large audience, written in meaningful paragraphs. Simple. Yes. When you express yourself, when you express your thoughts, when you express your opinion on a particular subject for a large audience, you are writing what? An article. Now, an article is meant to be read. It's not meant to be what? To be heard in terms of talking. You do not talk to express your article. You write to express your opinions. That is an article. Now, why write an article? The motive behind writing an article is that it should be published either in newspapers, magazines, or journals, so as to make some difference in the world. Now, you begin to wonder, what difference am I making in the world? That opinion, that issue, that subject you're writing about, yes, you are trying to make what? Some changes, some difference in the world. Maybe people's perception towards that particular subject matter. Your article contains facts, contains data that you have researched on, and you are writing to let the world know more, probably away from their initial thought. That is what an article is. I believe we're on the same page. All right, let us look at this. What are the objectives of article writing? An article is written with the following objectives. 1. It brings out the topics or the matter of interest into limelight. Now, when the topic you're discussing is a topic that probably people are not too aware of, or they are familiar with, but they do not have enough details on such topics or subjects, your article is supposed to what? To contain facts, to contain information that will give them better understanding. Thereby, such subject becomes what? Becomes famous, and more people become more enlightened with such a topic. Next objective, the article provides information on the topics. Yes, this is very straightforward. Your article should provide information on the topics so that people will have clearer views on that topic. It offers suggestions and pieces of advice. Your article is not just meant to pass across information, but at a point you also have to give or recommend ways out, suggestions, recommendations, and even advice, all depending on what the subject you are writing on. It influences the readers and urges them to think. Your article is meant to be a food for thought. It should not just be something that people will read and then it ends there. No, it should serve as a food for thought that people will reason, people will think and analyze situations around them. The article discusses various stories, persons, locations, rising issues, and technical developments. Yes, an article should be something that should be written on a topic or on topics that are relevant in the to the present situation of the country or the world at large. Now, we've been talking about articles, objective of writing an article, but what are the steps to follow for article writing? Now, every writing has its format, and article is not an exemption. Let us look at the steps for article writing. Think of the topic you want to write the article about. Only after you have decided your topic, you can go ahead and undertake the further steps in the process, one by one. Now, this format has been arranged chronologically. That is, it follows each other, one after the other, step by step, just as we'll be looking at them here. First, target audience. Identify the concerning reading group. Who am I writing my articles to, or article for? Am I writing it on the topic that involves students in secondary schools, or on pupils in primary or nursery? Am I writing to elderly people? Am I writing for a particular program? What are the caliber or type of people that will honor such a program? Now, your target audience is very important. Know your target group when writing an article. Who are those that are going to read my article? Who am I writing this article for? Who do I want to communicate to? That is first. You must have this at the back of your mind. Purpose. Find the objective or aim of writing the article. Why am I writing this article? Why do I want to educate this class of people on this topic? You must have a reason. You must have an objective or an aim for writing an article. Your aim will make you to write a better and effective article in terms of your expression and communication. Collect and select. Yes. Gather as much information as possible. Also, identify the details that are most significant. Now, when gathering information and writing your article, you must be very selective. What are the important points? What are the important details that I need to infuse in my writing? All these are very important because your article is going to be read by a lot of people. Now, very vital points are important so that your article will be rich and at the end it will have an impact in the lives of your readers. Organize. Arrange the information and the facts in a logical way. Now, your article should not be Your article should not be illogical. It should not be lacking in structure. It should be arranged. You must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And all your discussion should follow a pattern that it begins from simple into complex, so that people will follow the story or follow your writing pattern. By so doing, it will be effective to your readers. All right, I believe we have seen the format, what we need to follow when doing that. Now, still, while writing an article, always use proper grammar, spelling, and proper punctuations. Apply the rule of punctuation. Apply the rule of spelling, proper grammar. Why? Because this is going to be read. Yes, you are not the one saying it for them or to them. Rather, they are going to read it. Your article is going to be read. So apply the rule of punctuation. Be very cautious of your spelling before you finally put down or agree that this is something that should be published. Use vocabulary skill. Vocabulary skill here does not mean you should begin to go borrow big words, complex words that will end up confusing your readers, but rather it means your choice of words. Your choice of words must relate to the topic you're writing. Your choice of words should be in line, should be associated with the topic you're writing. By so doing, you have a better writing. Keep the introduction of the topic catching, interesting, and short. The topic of your article must be what? Straight to the point. When one sees it, should be what? Interested to want to actually read what is below it. Discuss the opinion and the matter in an organized and descriptive manner. Yes, this method gives an imagery. It gives your reader a mental picture of the topic you are discussing. As the reader goes through and reads, the person sees it as it is when you use descriptive manner. And this is a very good technique to adopt while writing article. Use descriptive manner. All right, away from the formats in terms of theory, let us look at the format of article writing practically. Now, first we say you should what? Identify your audience, and then we went on, say that you must know the language, you must select and collect information. Let us look at how this goes. An article must be organized in a proper way so as to draw the attention of the readers. Yes. The basic outline for an article writing format is heading and title. Yes. No article should what? Be lacking in heading or title. You must have a title for what you are writing. A line having the writer's name. Now, below the heading, you must have your name. We're going to see that practically in our next slide. Body, the main part of the article, in 2 to 3 paragraphs. Very important. Conclusion, ending paragraph of the article with the opinion or recommendation, anticipation, or an appeal. The conclusion usually contains all these details. Probably you might want to recommend on the topic. You might want to appeal. It all depends on your subject matter, what you are writing about. All right, points to keep in mind for the article writing format. Before you write an article, keep some points in mind. Keep these tips in mind. The topics of the article should be unique and relevant. Said that. The article has to get information. Yes. It has to be interesting. It has to be easy to read. The reader is identified, that is target audience. Find the main goal of writing an article. The goal can be anything from providing information, entertainment, and advice, or for comparing, etc. Yes, that is aims and objectives of what writing your article. Are you writing to entertain, to inform, to provide information, or what is your purpose? The title must be eye-catching, clear, and interesting. We've said this. So these are things to put in mind, very important when writing an article. Let us go practical. We said first, you must have a title. Okay, for the benefit of this example, let us use floods as the title of our what? Article, floods. Now, you can see this is our paper page. Flood is the title. As you can see, it is written in the center of my paper. Then, when we talk about line, name below, this is the format you write the name of your name. Since you are the author of the article, this is the method you write your name. Now, just below the title, you just come to the middle of the title, and then you write by, then your name in full. This article is written by Ernest Emmanuel. What article is that? Floods. All right. After the article, we now look at paragraph 1, which is the introduction. Now you need to introduce what? Your article. And put this in mind. Start with a slogan, a question, an amazing fact or figure, a statement, a brief introduction about the subject. Now, well, as we move on, you understand this better. For example, This is my first paragraph on the article floods. Let's read this together. After a great downpour, an otherwise dry land is covered by standing water, which stays for a period of time. This is an example of flood. Now, do you see how I introduced this article? I did not begin by defining flood. Flood is no. I started with what? A catching statement. So your article must be something that will draw the attention, catch the attention of the reader to keep him or her glued to reading your writing. Now this is paragraph 1, example, introduction. Let us look at the paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 usually is the main body. It explains the causes and effects in great length. Usually it's in paragraph 2 that you explain more and more and more what your article is about. All the information needed, the details, facts, opinions are all contained here. Now, let us look at this example. Paragraph 2. Rivers may overflow their banks during the rainy season. If the rain is very heavy, the river may overflow its banks to neighboring land, making the land flood. Now, you can see I am beginning to bring out the causes of what? Of floods. Now, it doesn't mean that, as I said, this is an example. It doesn't mean that this is how scanty your information or your detail should be. But it is just a sample. I use this. If you look at the beginning of the paragraph, it brought about some of the causes of what? Of floods. Don't forget, our article is on floods. Let us look at how to end your article. Discuss your solutions or recommendations, how to control it, and conclude. Since I'm talking about flood, I will discuss, probably I might bring out one point here for the benefit of example. Now, one of the points, as you can see, paragraph 3. To avoid or prevent cases of floods, surface drainage paths should be designed and constructed by competent engineers. It doesn't mean that that's the end, but this is the last point I give before I come to what? Final conclusion. So you must provide what? Solution, recommendation, as the case may be. Maybe it's an appeal or advice on what? The article you are writing. All right. If written properly, this is the ideal picture of how your article will be on paper. You can see title Floods by Ernest Emmanuel. Then you can see the first paragraph, the second paragraph, the third, that's the last paragraph. Now this is the ideal picture of how an article paper would look like, or an article writing would look like, just as it is arranged here. All right, I believe you've gotten this. Now, we have seen the format, we have seen what an article is, we have seen the steps to follow, we've even seen examples and guidelines on how to write that. Now, this is what I want you to help me do. I would like you to try this. I'd like you to engage yourself, because the essence is to know how to do this. So let us look at activity 1. Yes, this is what I would like you to do at home, and be very original. Do not allow anybody to do this for you. You have the time to source your information, gather and select. Okay, know your target audience, and let's see how best you can bring this out. Let's read this assignment together. As the head prefect of your school, a space has been allocated for you in your school's maiden magazine edition. Write an article that will occupy the space given to you in the magazine on the subject reading habits to educate your fellow students and the school as a whole. So I'd like you to engage in this activity and let me get your feedback. Let me see how well you have understood the lesson and see where you need to put in more effort. Thank you, and I hope that this lesson has been beneficial. Let's call it a day and See you in our next lesson.